My people, something big is happening in the Sahel. The AES, Alliance of Sahel States, has announced plans to build something that could change the Sahel and the continent forever. Because for far too long, Africa's dreams have been financed by other people's money and shaped by other people's priorities. What do? We go to the IMF, the World Bank, the so-called development partners, and in return, we've been handed loans with conditions that strip away our power to decide our own future. But today, something is shifting. In the Sahel, in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, leaders are planting a seed for a different kind of future. An Africa that funds itself. An Africa that answers only to its people. They're building a new investment bank. That's right, funded by Africans for Africans to power the kind of projects that can transform lives. We're talking roads and railways that connect our markets, energy grids that light up our villages, factories that process our raw materials right here at home. And here's the part that I love the most. This isn't just talk, because yes, we know when it comes to Africa, there's a lot of talk and very little action. Each country has already committed 5% of their tax revenues to make it happen. Yes, that's Africa saying we will pay for our own future. And it is time. Now, you may not agree with every decision these governments have made, but you can't deny the vision, breaking free from dependency and building the financial muscle to shape their own destiny. Today, we're breaking down the AES's bold new investment bank and why this could be one of the most game-changing moves on the continent right now. Because this isn't just about the Sahel. It's about the first real steps toward the Africa that we keep saying we want. An Africa that stands tall, united, and fully in control of its economic story. My people, we're going to break it down. But first, a big welcome to all of our new subscribers and members. I am so glad you're here with us. And if you're watching and haven't joined us yet, please consider this your personal invitation. Because here at PanaGenius TV and on the Breakdown Show, we're committed to not just building a channel, but creating a home for Black stories that are told with truth, intention, and power. Why? Because we want to build a new future. And if this speaks to you, hit subscribe, tap the bell, drop a super thanks to support our work, or join our membership community. Your support helps us do what we do even better. And trust and believe that we appreciate every bit of it. All right, now, let's get into it. So my people, for decades, Africa has been told the same thing over and over. If you want to develop, go ask someone else for the money. It's been told to line up at the doors of the IMF and the World Bank, to wait for donor conferences, to beg for grants that come with strings so tight they choke our very sovereignty. And what's the result? Projects that stall because the donors change their minds. Policies designed in Washington or Paris, not in Bamako or Ouagadougou. Development agendas that serve other nations' strategic interests before our own. Now, the new Alliance of Sahel States, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, are saying enough of that. Enough of being told what's possible and what's not. Enough of letting outsiders set the price of our progress. When these countries walked away from ECOWAS earlier this year, the headlines focused on the politics, the sanctions, the drama. But my people, look closer and you see something deeper. A bid for economic self-determination. And now with this investment bank, they're putting that bid into action. An advisor to Burkina Faso's government in a statement to Bloomberg said, and quote, "We don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we're reliant on foreign investors who tell us where to invest and what to invest in." Simple, plain and simple. No more waiting for approval from Brussels or Washington, for approval to build a bridge or launch a power plant. No more relying on aid that can be cut off overnight, as Trump did earlier this year. This is Africa funding Africa, using African money for African priorities. This, my people, is why this moment matters. It's not just about the Sahel. It's about setting a precedent. It's about showing the rest of the continents that we can, in fact, finance our own development and own our economic future. So how exactly is this going to work? The vision is simple but powerful. According to the same advisor who spoke to Bloomberg, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso will each commit 5% of their tax revenues to fund the bank. That's money collected from their own economies. No foreign lenders, no donor conditions, channeled straight into development. And this bank isn't being built for paperwork and prestige. It's being built to finance real projects, roads and railways to connect markets across borders, energy infrastructure to power factories, homes, and schools, agricultural projects that turn fertile land into Africa's breadbasket, mining and industrial ventures that process raw materials right at home so that Africa keeps the value of what Africa produces. And because the bank is controlled by the Alliance of Sahel States, the decision-making is theirs. No 5-year wait for approval, no endless conditions that kill the spirit of a project before it even starts. This is what makes it different from the traditional model. Instead of knocking on the doors of the World Bank or the IMF, waiting for a green light, and then paying interest rates that drain public budgets, the Sahel can decide today and start building tomorrow. And yes, this is starting small, but so did every great institution we now take for granted. If this works, my people, it won't just change the Sahel. It could inspire an African investment bank for the whole continent, fully owned, funded, and driven by African nations. My people, this vision is so exciting and timely. It's what we've been talking about here on the breakdown, right? It represents more than just the idea of a bank. It is a statement, a declaration that Africa can no longer be defined by dependency. For far too long, the stories about Africa's development have been written in foreign capitals. We've been told what's feasible, what's affordable, and what's allowed. And every time we've tried to chart our own course, we've been warned that it's too risky, too ambitious, or too African. The Sahel Investment Bank turns that script upside down. It says that we will decide our priorities. We will fund our future. We will take the risk because the risk of doing nothing is far greater. This is the Africa we want. An Africa that uses its own resources to unlock its own potential. An Africa that builds regional institutions not just for prestige, but for power. Real economic power that can shape industry, trade, and innovation. And the beauty of it, this isn't just a Sahel victory. It's a blueprint. The rest of the continent can follow. East Africa could do it. Southern Africa could do it too. And one day, these regional pillars could connect into a continent-wide African investment bank, a financial engine for Agenda 2063 that answers to no one but us. And even beyond Africa, imagine this bank forging strategic partnerships with Black-owned banks in the Caribbean and the United States. For the first time, we could create a financial bridge across the global Black world, linking our capital, our markets, and our ambitions. Because together, Africa and the Caribbean and the diaspora in the US hold multi-trillion-dollar purchasing power. And if we channel even a fraction of that into our own financial institutions, we could fund our own infrastructure. We could back our own entrepreneurs. We could negotiate with the world as a united economic force, not as beggars, as we often show up, but as partners, as key players, as stakeholders. My people, this is bigger than a bank. This is about vision, about unity. This is the foundation of a new economic reality for the entire Black world. If Africa built it and the Caribbean and US diaspora connect to it, we stop playing defense in the global economy and start playing offense. We stop reacting to what others decide and start setting our own terms. But here's the truth. This vision only works if we all see ourselves in it. If we see this not as their bank in the Sahel, but as our bank, our platform for global Black wealth and power. Because history has shown us no one else will invest in our freedom the way we will. And the sooner we put our resources together, the sooner we'll stop being customers in someone else's economy and start being shareholders in our own. But before we talk about how we can get involved and support this vision, let's be real, right? Big ideas don't come without big challenges. And if we're going to back this, we need to understand the road ahead. The first roadblock, money. Yes, 5% of tax revenues is a bold start, but these are some of the poorest economies in the world. Their budgets are already stretched. So the bank will need to prove that it can multiply that money through smart investments, partnerships, and returns. The second is management and transparency. If this becomes another political slush fund or a victim of corruption, the credibility and the dream will collapse before it even takes off. Clear governance, independent oversight, and professional management are non-negotiable. The third, external pressure. Now, let's not be naive. There are global powers, financial institutions, and even regional actors who will see a self-funded African bank as a threat to their influence. Expect pushback, economic, political, even diplomatic. And finally, unity. If the founding members aren't aligned in vision, if personal politics and leadership changes shake the commitment, the bank could stall. Consistency will be key. But here's the thing, my people. These roadblocks don't mean the vision isn't worth pursuing. If anything, they make it even more urgent. Because what's the alternative? To keep waiting for permission from leaders who never have our full freedom in mind? To keep accepting loans that drain more than they build? To keep letting outsiders decide which roads we can pave, which industries we can grow, and which dreams are too ambitious for us? No. The harder the road, the more important the journey. Yeah, my mom always tells me that. And every major institution in the world today, the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, even the European Union's central funds, started with skepticism, small budgets, and yes, big resistance. They build credibility over time through persistence and results. The Sahel Investment Bank can do the same, but only if we back it, if we protect it, if we keep it accountable. And that's where we come in. Because my people, this can't just be their fight in Mali, in Niger, in Burkina Faso. This has to be our fight across Africa, the Caribbean, and the diaspora worldwide. So how do we make that happen? Well, here's what I believe. If we truly believe in this bank as a game changer for Africa and the global Black community, then we have to move from applause to action. First, let's spread the word. Right now, most people have no idea this bank is even being built. So let's talk about it. Let's post about it. Share this video with your group chats. Let the Sahel know that the world is watching and cheering them on, because that matters. And second, push for partnerships. We have Black-owned banks, credit unions, and investment firms across the Caribbean and the US that could connect with this institution. If you're in those spaces or know people who are, let's start the conversation. And the goal here? A global Black financial network that links our trillions in purchasing power. Third, let's build diaspora investment channels. Yes, we can't all send millions, but we can create structures, cooperative funds, bonds, diaspora savings schemes that allow ordinary people to invest in projects backed by the bank. Imagine knowing your contribution is building a hospital, a factory, or a renewable energy plant in Africa. This is a call to the AES to launch a diaspora investment fund. And fourth, hold it accountable. Support doesn't mean blind loyalty, right? We must demand transparency, ethical governance, and measurable impact. Because if this bank succeeds, it sets a precedent. And if it fails, it becomes ammunition for those who say Africa just can't manage its own future. Fifth, let's connect to the bigger picture here. See this bank not as an isolated project, but as part of the larger fight for African economic sovereignty. Tie it into Agenda 2063, to the African Continental Free Trade Area, to every effort that strengthens our ability to stand on our own. Because, my people, if this works, it's not just a win for Mali, Niger, or Burkina Faso. It's a win for African and every person of African descent across the world. My people, I want to come back to us, because vision without support is just a dream. And the truth is, the diaspora holds one of the most powerful keys to making this bank a success. Every single year, Africans in the diaspora send nearly $100 billion back home in remittances. Think about that. $100 billion sent home. That's more than all the foreign aid we get from Western governments combined. We are already funding schools, building homes, and paying hospitals for our families. But what if there was a channel, secure, transparent, and accountable, that allowed us to contribute just a little bit of that money each month directly to this bank? I'm talking $5, $10, $15 a month. Your Starbucks, a large latte, whatever you can give. Not charity, but investment. Investment into the infrastructure, businesses, and industries that will build the Africa that we want. Imagine every month, millions of us contributing small amounts, pulled into a fund that built a railway in Niger, that finances a solar farm in Mali, or launches an agro-processing plant in Burkina Faso. That's our money, our hands, shaping our future. And here's my question to you. Would you do it? If there was transparency, if there was real accountability, if you could track exactly where your contribution went, would you commit to building Africa's first truly people-powered bank? Because this is how we move from being passive supporters to active architects of Africa's economic independence. This is how we turn remittances into revolutionary capital. And if enough of you let me know that you would, I will personally travel to Burkina Faso, meet with Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and tell him we are ready to launch a diaspora investment fund. My people, what we're witnessing in the Sahel right now is not just another policy announcement. It's the planting of a seed that says Africa will no longer wait for permission to dream. A seed that says we will no longer beg for resources that we already have. Make it make sense. A seed that could grow into a financial movement powerful enough to unite Africa with the Caribbean and the diaspora across the world. Tapping into our own shared wealth to transform our shared future. Because here's the truth. No one is coming to save us. If they were, they would have been here already. But we have everything we need to save ourselves. We have the talent. We have the resources. We have youth, the advantage of youth. And through this bank, we can have the structure to build an entirely different future. The question now is, will we have the will? Will we, the sons and daughters of Africa everywhere, choose to put our money where our mouth is? Even if it's just $5 or $10 a month, will we help build an institution that belongs to us, answers to us, and works for us? History is full of moments where nations and peoples had the chance to change their destiny and either seized it or let it slip away. This, my people, is one of those moments. And years from now, when our children ask us what role we played in building the Africa we always talked about, I want us to be able to say, we didn't just watch, we built it. So now I turn it over to you, my people. What do you think of the AES's bold vision? And if you had the chance, would you support this bank? And in your view, what must be done to turn this idea into a truly transformative force for the continent? Let me know in the comments and let's talk about it. You know, I can't wait to hear from you. And as always, please be sure to amplify this video, especially if you enjoyed it and liked the ideas. And don't forget to subscribe, join our membership community, or drop a super thanks to support our channel. Thank you so much. I am truly thrilled to be able to come to you every day and to have these important conversations together. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sandra Babu-Boateng, and until next time, take care.